for today's look, I wanted to be very glowy, but kind of in targeted areas. I didn't want to be all over glowy. I didn't want to look like a glazed donut. So that is the reason why I'm actually going in with a more soft matte finish based product, so that we can really target the glow to be only on the cheeks and the lips. It has been a couple of hours ever since I did my skincare, which is why I prep my skin with my sunscreen. The sunscreen that I have been using is this one from Misha. I'm not sure if you can see because it's so white, but it's the Essence sunscreen. It has an SPF of 45. I really like it. It's very hydrating, gives you an extremely glowy base. So this is always what I use as a primer. I don't really need pore filling or anything, so I only need hydration, and sunscreen or even just my moisturizer does the trick, so I don't have to buy excessive amounts of primers. For the foundation, I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty one. This is not the foundation that I use on a regular basis. It's just not my preferred formula because of its weightless texture. It's kind of weird to explain. I did a whole video about this foundation and the liquid blushes that they have. If you want to know more about it, know more about my opinion, I'll link it above for you so you can go and watch it. But it's really good for when you want to have a more matte kind of base, so you can really target the glow where you want it. And with this product especially, you want to prep your skin very well because it can kind of cling to dry patches that you may have. So I would, with this foundation, always recommend a very good like exfoliating routine beforehand, like the night before, and then apply something nice and hydrating. This shade that I have is pretty bright, but I actually don't mind it for today's look because I want something very clear and kind of transparent looking. So a lighter shade is actually not half bad. I'm going to set everything very lightly with powder, but I'm making sure to apply powder only in the center of my face and leave my cheeks untouched. To give some color back to my face and to slightly bronze, I'm going to be using the Maybelline City Bronzer. I have the shade 200 Medium Cool, and I like that it is a nice yellow toned highlighter. It is not too orange and it's not like reddish or anything. So I really like this color for my skin tone. What I like about this bronzer is that you can't go overboard. Like, I'm going in and it's not powdery, and it also doesn't apply too much. Since this also has the slightest amount of a little sheen to it, it's nice because it's not going to completely mattify your skin. Our skin is going to be feeling nice and set, but it has a little soft glow to it. If you want to contour, go ahead, do that. I'm not going to be contouring anything, and I don't even have a contour powder, to be honest. Blush, I'm going to be using a very glowy blush. From here on, these are products I really recommend to you if you want an extreme glow. And the combination of all these three may be a little bit much, but since it's kind of like a concept makeup, we can go a little bit overboard. This is a very nice makeup look for when you want to take some pictures, like with a sunlight kind of ring light and everything just looks super glowy, like for a profile photo or something like that. I think this would be a nice kind of makeup look for that. Maybe not the best like mask proof makeup, but that is not the point of today's video anyways. It's just having fun. So I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush, and this one is in the shade Maui. It's a very nice kind of neutral light mauve pink. Like, it's kind of natural. It's not a vivid color, that is what I'm trying to say. It's not like bright, like in your face. It's just a very neutral soft shade. It has a bunch of gold shimmer in it, and I feel like when you use a brush, the shimmer is much more noticeable, which is why I'm going to be using my fingers instead. I always like to apply my cheek products when I use my fingers with my ring finger, and then I use my middle finger to kind of blend out the edges. Now for highlighter, this blush is very glowy on its own, but I want to go extra. I'm going to first go in with the Jellypop highlighter that I used in my last video, I believe. This is a very nice highlighter, but it does not dry down. It really doesn't. It kind of stays wet on your cheeks, which is probably not the preferred formula for most people, but it looks just so pretty and so wet. It's very nice. You should be careful though, if you have like acne prone skin, or like, you know, coconut oil kind of breaks you out. One of the first ingredients of this one is coconut oil, so keep that in mind. It really feels like that. It's very like, as you touch it, it just melts right away like coconut oil would, so just keep that in mind. To kind of set that and make it a little bit more intense, I'm going to go in with Soft and Gentle. It's just very beautiful because it has shimmer in it. It's the shimmer that is really going to make it look wet because it just reflects a lot of light. So for this type of makeup look, I think it's just suitable. And since our cheeks are kind of wet now, this is going to adhere to it so well and make it look extra intense, almost as if we're using this wet, because this formula can be used wet. So I'm popping it right on top of what we did, so it'll kind of set it and again make it even more glowy. Okay, now that we have our extreme glow, we can move on to eyes. When I think of clear makeup, I think of shades that are pretty light, nothing too contouring, like very soft. So I'm going to be using from my Sweet Peach palette for a base first these two light shades. We have a very nice kind of soft light peach, and then we're going to be mixing it with this soft kind of pink shade. I think it's going to create a very beautiful base, and I think I'll deepen it with Charmed, I'm sure, which is pretty dark, but I like that it's more of a cool color than this one. Puree is a little too warm, so I'm definitely going to be adding a glitter. Glitter just reminds me of like crystal, like glistening teardrop kind of makeup, so that is what we're going to be doing afterwards. So literally just mixing the colors together and apply that onto my lid. This is nothing that you can see that much because these shades are so natural. They are so close to my natural skin tone, but it's going to give a nice kind of soft matte effect, and it's going to look very pretty with the glitter because the shadow underneath is matte and then you only have those little sparkles. I think it's going to look very pretty. I'm actually going to be taking White Peach, which is the lightest shade, to add just a little bit more light into the inner corner. This is not the most pigmented shade, so I don't have to be like too careful. Now to deepen just a little bit on the outer corner, I'm going to be taking Charmed, I'm sure, taking the tiniest little bit and add it right here. As you can see, like that. That's quite a bit, so I'm going to put it over here as well. Kind of distribute the color. Again, keep in mind this is not supposed to be a very smoky eye makeup look. This is just to give a little bit more depth, but not to look like blown out smoky eye. For the glitter, I'm going to be using my Peri Peri Sugar Twinkle Liquid Glitter. This is so versatile, I love to use it. I've been using it quite a lot lately. There was a time I was not really using it, but I love the sparkle it gives, so I'm going to be applying some of this on my upper lash line and also on my lower lash line. To kind of blend the glitter a bit better, I'm going to be taking a small detailed brush, because if you try to blend with the applicator, you're just depositing more and more glitter. And this way you can control it a little bit better. To line my eyes, I'm going to be taking a black gel pot liner because I want something to look nice and crisp and kind of contrast to the more soft eye makeup. I'm definitely going to be going over that with a little bit of a brown shadow, so I'm going to take the brown color we used before to deepen our eye makeup and going just lightly over that. To finish up our eyes, apply some mascara or like very wispy individual false lashes. That will look very pretty as well. For the eyebrows, try to make them look as I would say transparent as possible, meaning don't fill them in completely so that they look like one solid color. Try to really only fill in the little sparse areas that you may have. Then comb your brows through with either a gel or even soap brows. The more individual hairs you can see, the more kind of transparent it's going to look, and I think the more fitting for today's look it will be. If you have a brow pencil that is kind of like a felt tip marker or a very, very tiny thin one, that filling in the brows would look a lot more natural, but I only have this one, so I'm just very lightly like that, I'm going to fill in my brows. I find it's always the hardest to kind of step away from brows when you're filling them in, because you're like, just this corner, and then you end up with the most dramatic brows. It's so difficult. Now the final step is going to be lips. I want something very glossy, and I also want kind of a little bit more color than I usually do. So I'm going to be using 2 lipsticks to kind of create the combination that I want. First, starting off with a nude lipstick. I applied this one very, very lightly. It is the L'Oreal Color Riche lipstick in the shade MLBB. It's a very nice light glossy nude. It's a staple to lighten up any lipstick. If you really want to go full on pale lip, it's such a good lipstick for that. And then I'm going to be using the Color Riche matte one. This one is in the shade Pink Porter. This one I'm going to be applying on the inner part, kind of blend it out so it kind of meshes in with the nude. It's very intense, I know. That's so nice and bright and summery, I love it. Now to top it off, to give an extreme shine, I'm going to be using the Lifter Gloss by Maybelline. This one is in the shade Moon. I'm not going to lighten, it's just going to give a beautiful shimmer and gloss because it is kind of a mid-tone pink color. So I just did my hair. I kind of thought that with these little baby hairs everywhere, kind of looks more concept-ish. I really like it. It's so pretty. It's extremely glowy, like it's very glowy. Really enjoy it. I think it's very pretty. This entire thing could be for every day if you just tone it down a little bit on the highlighter and maybe only go in with the powder version so it's not like over the top. This is the completed look. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out and it just lets me know that you guys enjoyed this type of content. If you have any other like concept that you would like to see me do, please leave it down in the comments. And until the next time, please take care of yourself and I'll see you very soon. Bye!